For this math lesson, you will need your big math book and a pencil. We're going to review a little bit of what we talked about last week, and then you're going to be completing assignment for me in your big math book. Last week, we talked about symmetrical shapes and lines of symmetry. So you had an assignment that looked like this. I'm just going to refer back to a couple of things. Remember, if a shape is symmetrical, it's the same on both sides. So think about a square, a rectangle. If you cut it with a symmetrical line, either vertically or horizontally, if you fold it, it's going to be the same on both sides. So you had this assignment last week, and remember, it drew a line for you. So in number 1, there's this blue line, and if you fold it on that half, or you fold it where that line is, you had to write yes or no, whether it was a symmetrical shape based on where the line was or if it wasn't. Number 2, same thing. So look at this symmetrical, or look at this line going up and down. If I fold it on that blue line, the answer was yes. So it would match up exactly, and that's what symmetrical shapes do. Number 3, same thing. It's the same on both sides. So if I were to fold that, you would have the exact same things on both sides. You guys did a really good job last week. You had to send me either pictures or you'd look online for pictures of shapes that were symmetrical. So some of you had a star. So when you folded that star in half, both were on the same side. That was a symmetrical shape. Same with a heart. Today, what you're going to be doing is opening up your big math book to page 405, and we're just going to review that a little bit today since you had a couple of days off, and I want to talk a little bit more about this. So remember, you can pause this video at any time if you need to go back or if you need to get your book. But this is page 405 from your big math book. Today for your assignment, you're going to be completing more problems based on symmetrical shapes and lines of symmetry. So I want you to look up here. I'm going to read the directions to you. And then you're either going to complete it on here and send it to me through Dojo or another way, or you can just type it into the email that I have responded in this email once you get back to that. So take a look up here. I'm going to read this to you, and I want you to follow along as I read. It says, tell whether the shape appears to have 0 lines, 1 line, or more than 1 line of symmetry. So this is what you're going to write. You're either going to write 0, 1, or more than 1. Those are your 3 choices. So let me explain it a little bit more to you. So take a look at number 2. Now, I think the best strategy for this is to get a pencil and to try to draw a line of symmetry. Remember, that means how can you divide that shape? So however you divide it, wherever you put that line, it's the same on both sides. So let me just give you an example for number 2. Look at the line that I drew here. If I fold it where that line is it the same on this side and the same on this side? The answer would be yes. But can you draw any more lines? So however you fold that, or however it's drawn on both sides, it would be the same. So here's another example. If I go across like that, now look up above that horizontal line and look below it. Does that draw a line of symmetry? The answer is yes. So I was able to get at least 2. Now you can kind of play around with the shapes and think, well, if I do it one more time, you can draw a line on an angle like this. You have to think, are both sides the same? So if I were to fold it on that line, now sometimes it gets a little bit tricky when you go on an angle, would they be the same? So for each problem up here at the top, you would write 0. Well, so the answer here is not 0 because we were able to make at least 2. You would write 1 or more than 1. So in this case, for number 2, you would write more than 1. Then look at number 3. Same thing. Draw your lines. Can you make 0 lines so that when you fold it or when you draw that line, they're both the same? Will it be 1 or will it be more than 1? So that's what you're doing up here. Same with 6 through 9. So the directions are the same. Tell whether the shape appears to have 0 lines. So you can just put a 0, 1, or more than 1 line of symmetry. So same thing. Then 10 through 13. And down here, follow along as I read this part here. Does the design have line symmetry? Write yes or no. Then it says, if your answer is yes, draw all lines of symmetry. Now, if you're just responding to this email, obviously it's going to be a little harder for you to draw the picture or draw the line where that would go. So you can just respond yes or no. In number 10, here's a heart. It's just asking you to respond yes or no. Is this shape symmetrical in any way? So for any of them, you can draw the line going up and down, across, on an angle, and you're just telling me yes or no. So can I draw any sort of line in number 10 on this heart where it would make it so that it's the same on both sides? You're going to respond yes or no. So when you go back to the email that you clicked on for this link, that's what you're going to be completing for this. You don't have to do the bottom at all because it's going to be hard for you to draw a picture. So you are just doing 2 through 13. Thank you.